Rule number 8 is kind of tough. First in line, first in time. We've covered it a little bit with the head of the household and his claim of title over that house, and how we can extend that envelope of protection to every member of the house because he's first in line, first in time. This example happens to be United States of America's patent for an invention. Of course, in order to get the patent, you have to what? Register for the patent. You have to fill out the application for the patent and register your creation, and now the state takes, or the king takes advantage of your patent, and you get to take what, the middleman fee, or however that works out. But a patent is a perfect example of first in line, first in time. I actually have a little bit of a better example as well. I noticed this the last time that I was in this area. This is the wrought iron gate that is around the Disney studios in Burbank. And as I was in a car sitting in the back seat, and as we went around it, I came across this view of one of the posts. And of course, if we know it's the Disney studios, we can look at it and go, sure, that's the Mickey Mouse symbol, Disney's corporate symbol. But it's actually more than that. We've all heard of the magic of Disney and the movies that they produce, and believe it or not, they disclose a lot of the stuff in there. A whole lot of it, in fact, more than we could imagine. And if you have the magic of Disney, and this little image, this pictogram here, also represents something else that has magic in it. We're still in rule number 8, first in line, first in time. And again, it's really hard to show first in line, first in time, because I can't pull up pictures of everything that's been recorded in a county recorders, and I can't pull up all the registrations for a child and show you, well, the one that's first in line has the highest claim of title. So we're going to look at it a little bit differently. That's a water molecule. Ever heard of the magic of water? Water has magic properties, and it has to do with what's called the hydrogen bond. What's magic about it is that in its liquid state, when you go to freeze it, it's the only molecule that when it goes from its liquid state to a solid state, it expands instead of contracting. And it's said that this happens because of this magic bond between the hydrogen and the oxygen, or this magic properties of water, or the magic bond of hydrogen. And of course, you have the magic of Disney, right? We're still in rule 8. First in line is first in time. And this is the greatest example of it. Lilo and Stitch. Now, of course, Disney is really powerful, and they have a lot of copyrights, so you have to find an uncopyrighted image if you're going to present it in a public forum like this, in which I did. It's an uncopyrighted image. This story is really cool, and I remember watching it when my children were a bit younger. This story has to do with Stitch, who is an illegal alien creation that escapes to Earth. Upon escaping to Earth, it gets run over by a truck. Upon being found after being run over by the truck, it gets put into a dog pound. Now, while in the dog pound, it scares off all the other animals, and they're hiding in the rafters. So when Lilo comes along to adopt one of these animals from the pound, this is the only one she sees. So she goes to adopt it, and what does she have to do? She has to pay the adoption fee. But lo and behold, when she goes up there to pay the adoption fee, she realizes she doesn't have any money. Anybody else realize they don't have any money? She realizes she doesn't have any money, so she looks to her sister and says, can I borrow the $10 fee for the adoption because I don't have any money? So the big sister hands the little sister the $10. The little sister hands the $10 to the clerk, and the clerk hands over a receipt. We don't see this receipt at that particular moment in time. We see the receipt again later on in the movie. And it turns out it's a UCC 1 from the state of Hawaii. Because, of course, the movie goes on in the state of Hawaii. It's carried out in the state of Hawaii. What happens, of course, is that the illegal alien creation is eventually captured by the alien authorities that have been hunting it down. They're now going to take this illegal alien creation off to be destroyed. What you have is a CIA officer who's involved in the movie, and he knows what's going on with contracts, and he knows about the rules of commerce. And he looks at the little girl and he says, "Didn't you pay for him?" "Well, yes, I did." "Do you have the receipt?" "I do." She produces the receipt, hands it to the head of the alien authorities, and the illegal alien creation is actually turned over to her. This is what happens. The head of the authority for the aliens opens it up and says, "Well, clearly this is your property, and it will be returned to you immediately." Hands it over. At the end of the movie, we get to see what the receipt is. It is a UCC-1 from the state of Hawaii. There's a lot of misinformation about how to use a UCC-1. We hear how it's a magic bullet and how it's a get-out-of-jail-free card and how it's all of these things. But this is the perfect example, from the magic of water to the magic of Disney to the application of Rule 8. First in line is first in time. In order for that receipt to have been valid, in order for it to work in the way that we expected it to, and in the way that it did work, there was two things that were important. The first one is it had to be first in line, first in time. Was it the first one? Yeah. I mean, here this illegal alien creation escapes to Earth. It is captured and put into captivity, and its first receipt coming out of captivity is this UCC-1. There's no other receipt ahead of it, so it's first in line, first in time. The other thing that was important is that it was actually cross-filed. This wasn't Stitch creating his own security agreement against himself. It was a third party that has paid the price that now holds the receipt. And it worked, and it will work. A UCC-1 can work, but only if these two rules apply. Only if it is first in line, first in time, and only if it is cross-filed. And you don't actually need the specific UCC. The example of that is my interactions with both of my children. Anytime that I declare to an authority that I have never registered this creation, that I created it and have not registered it, that have not given up title, and do not give them permission to contract, they back down immediately. So these rules work. It's first in line, first in time. Here, of course, is the UCC-1. And of course, if you ever get a chance to watch Lilo and Stitch, watch it again. If you have to fast forward to the end just to see what's going on, do it. You will see that what they're showing you is a UCC-1 security agreement from the state of Hawaii. That is the receipt that she received from the dog pound for paying for this illegal alien creation, which becomes her property. Still in Rule 8, first in line, first in time. Again, we're looking at the same contracts, this voluntary servitude as opposed to involuntary servitude. The first in line, first in time rule applies to these as well. Who's first in line, first in time? The birth certificate would be first, right? And if you get registered in school, that would be second in line. And if you get registered for a baptism, that might be third in line. All of these registrations are just holding positions in line. First in line, first in time.
Gold chain round your neck, nothing to me. Diamonds in your teeth, nothing to me. You could be rolling 22s, nothing to me. You're listening down with the truth, now that's something to me. Know thyself, seek and ye shall find. I tell you this now, it's in no African mind. Searching diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, them the kind of things, illusions you fathom. Yeah, they call it magic. Right, you're right, it's tragic. I know, clever what they done, fantastic. Come against me now, you end up in a straitjacket. I'll prove you illiterate. One question, the language. Now who's the pickle in the sandwich? This kind of knowledge that you're hearing will damage you, destroy you. Don't worry, I'll employ you, get you back on track, so you can defend your own attack. Gold chain round your neck, nothing to me. Diamonds in your teeth,